Good evening. The Joint Committee on Public Works and Public Service and Transportation is called to order. My name is Paul Clancy. I am Chairman of the Public Works Subcommittee. To my left is Councilor Joe Petty, who is Chairman of the Public Service and Transportation Committee. The other members of the Public Works Committee, we have Councilor Toomey and Councilor Petty. And on the Public Service and Transportation Committee, we have Councilor Haller and Councilor Palmieri. And what we're going to do tonight is we're going to have a brief, we're going to have a presentation of the proposal from Maurice O'Connell, who is the Resident Vice President of CSX. After that presentation, if City Manager Michael O'Brien, who's here, would like to add anything to that, we would ask him to make those comments. Then we will open it to the subcommittee. We'll start first with public comment by Councilor Phil Palmieri, because it's his district most impacted. And then we'll open it up to the rest of the subcommittee members for questions of clarification on the proposal as we heard it. And then, after all those clarifications have been asked by the subcommittee, we'll then open it up for any public comment for either your comments or further clarifications you would like. Okay, so that'll be the process for this evening. Who is? Okay, I'll turn it over to City Manager Michael O'Brien first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Want to first off thank you for working quickly to put together this initial hearing on the proposal before you this evening for expansion of CSX existing freight yard here in the city of Worcester as part of an integrated plan for enhanced freight and enhanced commuter rail service here in Worcester. This council has certainly been on record for as long as I've been city manager about the importance of commuter rail to our community, enhanced service between centers of excellence here in Worcester and the city of Boston, and also the reverse of that, from Boston to Worcester. That has taken a great deal of effort on the part of many parties, including the city council, my administration, but certainly at the highest of levels at the state administration, work with the legislature to begin to put the necessary building blocks in place to achieve those goals. As this committee is well aware, there were landmark agreements finally struck between the Commonwealth and CSX in order to free up the tracks between Worcester and Framingham. Those tracks are currently shared by both freight and commuter rail. With those landmark agreements in place now, the necessary steps have to be taken between the Commonwealth and CSX to begin to implement the expansion of commuter rail. But at the same time, staying focused on that freight is critical to the future of the Commonwealth as well as the city, and CSX has to continue to maintain its mission, even though they will not be able to use those tracks from Worcester to Framingham during all peak commuter hours. And so what's before you this evening with the CSX proposals is that step, that first step in order to begin that process. And it happens here in Worcester, it happens in Westboro, and it happens in West Springfield in order to start to fulfill CSX's broader mission so that we can ultimately achieve enhanced commuter rail service. With me here tonight is obviously members of my team, Commissioner Moylan, as well as Joseph Bourbon, Director of Traffic Engineering, and Paul Musi, Director of Capital Projects. And to my right is Jamie Tesla. He's with Mass DOT, and with your permission, Mr. Chairman, what I'll do is allow Jamie just to speak to the Commonwealth's role and what it took for the Commonwealth and CSX to make sure that we are ready to achieve these broad goals. And again, that's why we're here this evening, is to take that first step. So,
Okay, thank you, Mr. Manager. And I just want to add for the public, this is the first hearing. There will be at least one other hearing in the future. So this is the first hearing on this particular expansion project. All right, Jamie, welcome.
Thank you. And as the manager said, I want to just give a couple very brief comments to give some context to the presentation that CSX is going to give today. The first thing I want to do, though, is begin with a thank you, because we wouldn't be here today, Massachusetts Department of Transportation and CSX together with a deal, if it wasn't for the longstanding and steadfast leadership of what I said is I wanted to start with a thank you to the members of this council, to the city, to Lieutenant Governor, Senator Kerry, Congressman McGovern, and other members of the administration, Secretary Mullen. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your leadership and insistence on improved commuter rail to this city. So just thank you, because it was as an effort and a long-term process to achieve what we were able to achieve with CSX over the years. And today we're here with a deal. I want to give some context to that. So thank you for your help and your insistence on more and better commuter rail to the city. Second, to give some context to the agreement that we reached, it's a two-part deal. We will close this spring on some other assets in Fall River, New Bedford, in the city of Boston. We will close on Worcester to Framingham and owning that portion of the right-of-way when two things are accomplished. One, and that's what Maurice and the CSX team will go through today in some detail, which is they need to move from where they are in Boston and Beacon Park Yard to new facilities throughout the state to create the capacity for the improved and expanded commuter rail that we've been working towards together. Second, we are making unprecedented investment in our bridges together with investment from CSX from the New York border all the way through here to make it double stack ready, and Maurice will explain what that means. And it's a significant economic investment for the state that has, I think we know, has significant growth potential for the region and for the state's economy. And we'll go through both the private investment that they're making as well as the investment that the state was making in those bridges. So first step is, first step is we get what we need from a commuter rail perspective when they've been able to successfully relocate. In 2012, our goal is to add 20 more trains. We have worked this with CSX to get to the point where we think where they are moving and their plans here in other parts of the state maintain a successful platform for freight rail in the Commonwealth and provide significant potential for growth, which is important to us economically. And as I mentioned, we're making the double stack investment, and Maurice can allude to that and go through that in some more detail.
Mr. Chairman, with your indulgence now, Maurice O'Connell from CSX, who's the resident vice president for New England and New York, will get up and present the PowerPoint before you and walk through their proposal and all the necessary details.
Mr. Chairman, City Council, just to echo what Jamie Tesler from Mass DOT just talked about, I want to thank you for your leadership throughout this process. The City of Worcester has always been interested in additional commuter trains. We've worked real hard with the Commonwealth over the years to make that happen. There have obviously been a lot of people at the table, and we're at a point today to realize all that hard work and to move forward with this transaction. To do that, as Mr. Tesler pointed out, CSX has to relocate operations out of an 80-acre facility in the city of Boston. That facility currently handles intermodal traffic and transflow traffic. And when we started this process with the Commonwealth, we looked at approximately 40 to 50 sites to relocate that traffic out of Beacon Park to create the capacity for the additional commuter trains. And we kept coming back to our existing sites, Worcester, Westboro, to a smaller extent, West Springfield. And a big part of this transaction to create the capacity and efficiencies necessary to move the additional commuter trains to Worcester is double stacking our line from the New York State border to Westboro. That will allow CSX to double stack our intermodal trains, and you can see the picture there on the bottom right, and for those in the audience, I apologize, but that is something we can't do today in Massachusetts. As a matter of fact, the way it works today, a lot of this traffic originates on the West Coast, places like Long Beach, California. Railroads out west bring it to CSX to Chicago. We pick up the traffic in Chicago, we move it from Chicago across New York, and the traffic has to stop in Syracuse, where we call filleting the trains. We take one container off of each rail car before the train can move on to Massachusetts. That adds approximately 8 to 10 hours to the commute. And we think with double-stacked trains that the efficiency that will create will do a lot of things. I think there's a real economic development opportunity here in Worcester, becoming the intermodal hub for New England. And what does that mean? You see distribution centers pop up around these type of investments, and that means more jobs for Worcester. There'll also be additional jobs during the construction of this $100 million facility, approximately 380 jobs altogether. The double stacking will also reduce congestion on the Massachusetts Turnpike. It will reduce emissions. Trains can move a ton of freight, 436 miles on 1 gallon of fuel. Every freight train you see out there is 280 trucks off of our highway system. So you're taking trucks off the highway system, which is funded by taxpayers, and you're putting them on the railroad, which is funded by a private entity. So at the end of the day, the taxpayers also win with this proposal. The double stack initiative, in addition to those 380 jobs for the construction of the $100 million terminal, the double stack piece will add 464 jobs during that construction period. CSX has been a neighbor in Worcester for quite some time. Our predecessor railroads, we've been here since 1835, and we look forward to continuing this process with the City Council. Obviously, the opportunity tonight to listen to the community, understand the concerns, so that we can be transparent here and move forward with a plan that not only works for CSX, works for the City of Worcester, and works for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Thank you.
Do you want to go over the specifics of the site?
I'll go over that.
I think that's what
Terminal
most
plan
people
now.
are waiting for.
The current terminal is approximately 23 acres. Sure.
Yeah, we could turn it toward them because we all have a copy of the, yeah, that's better.
Thank you, Councilor.
Is that better? Is that better? Can everybody see that?
The current terminal today is approximately 23 acres. What you see here is an additional 28 acres for a total of about 51 acres. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, The property we are trying to relocate out of here is 80 acres. So Worcester gets a piece of this Westboro, and of course a small piece in West Springfield. Today, all the traffic, and I'll come over here if that's okay, Mr. Chairman.
That's fine.
Okay.
Just take a microphone.
Today, all the traffic, this is
If you'll do me a favor,
okay.
present to the council.
Today, all the traffic out of our terminal enters and exits here on Franklin Street. This is right across the street from the fire department. We have approximately 400 trucks a day entering and exiting the facility. The trucks take a right-hand turn onto Franklin Street, then take a right-hand turn onto Grafton, through the Washington Square, the roundabout, and onto 290, either east or west. This plan moves the entrance and exit to Grafton Street. And there are a couple of advantages, I think, right away that you'll notice here, moving the entrance and exit to Grafton Street. Over here on Franklin Street, there's a very small area for trucks to queue up. So what happens here is if you get 3 or 4 or 5 trucks in this area coming out onto Franklin Street, you get a lot of congestion in this area, and then, of course, out into Washington Square. This area here onto Grafton Street, here is the gate to the terminal. So the trucks come out through here, which is a lot more room here for trucks to queue up. And we are adding an acceleration lane right through here for trucks to gain the necessary speed to get onto Grafton Street. And if they're going 290 east, they can get right on the ramp and get on the interstate. Whereas today, if they're going 290 east, they still have to make that move through Washington Square. We think that is an improvement over the existing plan. If the trucks are going west out of the facility, they will continue on Grafton through Washington Square, as they do today, onto 290. The other piece here, as far as the traffic goes, on Franklin Street, there will be no more truck traffic. We think this is important for the fire department, which is obviously located on Franklin Street. CSX is building an overpass on Franklin Street, which will allow our trucks to get into the facility going under the overpass. So this will all be vehicular traffic, obviously, on this overpass here. And just a couple other things. Obviously, this is the Shaw's grocery store here. This will be parking. You come into the terminal. There is a gate here. This is for security so that when trucks do come into the facility, they can check in with security. Want to make sure that the truck belongs at the terminal. This here is a building for administrative intermodal activities. There is a new building on the west side of the yard for train and engine crews. A roadability building here where light repairs will be made. And if you go out towards Putnam Lane, there will be another building for maintenance of way activities. Some of the other things I think that are important to point out here, the cranes today that we use out there are approximately 20 to 25 years old. These are state-of-the-art cranes. They are much quieter and much more fuel efficient than the cranes we are using today. The retention ponds you see here, these retention ponds are necessary under current Massachusetts regulations. But again, this is an improvement over the existing footprint, as all the stormwater from the facility will drain directly into these retention ponds and will release into the environment slowly, but the water will be much cleaner than what exists today. There is lighting today at the facility. There'll be more. You see the light poles throughout the terminal. Another thing we did, understanding the community concerns with lighting, and that this lighting will be directional. It will only shine on those areas where we're working, so the other parts of the community will not be affected by that. But I think that's an overview of what the facility will look like. Again, it's going from 23 to 51 acres to accommodate the additional traffic that's coming from Boston.
Are the other sections there?
Sure.
Go through, yeah, all three sections that we have on our map.
All this, another thing I want to point out, all the track in here will be replaced. Today it is what we call bolted rail. This will all be welded rail, which is quieter. It'll be all new ties, obviously, which will be quieter. It's hard to see here on the map, but our operation today ends at around Fantasia Street, if you're looking at some of these side streets here. So this part here will be additional working tracks that don't exist out there today. And there's also a yard lead, and the yard lead is important for the capacity that is needed to handle the additional traffic that's coming from Beacon Park. It's also important because without this capacity over here and without this yard lead, if we do that work on the west end, it becomes less efficient, and there's a risk that we commingle with the passenger operation, and that is not something that's going to work for CSX, but it's not something that's going to work for the MBTA either. We worked real hard to improve the on-time performance, which is somewhere between 90 and 95% today. And if we're working at the west end of the yard and we're hanging out on the main line, those numbers will be impacted. Part of this proposal, we do have some zone changes. It does include closing Putnam Lane. And the reason why the closure of Putnam Lane is necessary, the cranes, the width of the cranes, cannot service this area without closing Putnam Lane, because we don't have the necessary width there to accommodate the cranes. And again, the capacity here is critical to make the whole plan work. So that is part of the proposal as well. Let me just get to the last slide. This here is the east end of the yard. This is the maintenance of way building that I mentioned. This building will service some of the cranes, some of the equipment that we're using out here on the tracks. Most of that work, if not all of that work, is done during the daytime hours. And there's also a turnaround here for trucks. A lot of that activity will be occurring during the daytime hours as well. And of course, the entire plan includes landscaping, trees, shrubs, to make sure that it fits in with the community.
Thank you. Is there
And we're going to show a video here as well.
Okay.
And this will be, let me get out of the way here, this will be a 3D simulation of what the terminal will look like.
It's just a little slow. It's usually a little faster.
So this is looking south down Henry Street. It's a little slow, I apologize.
That's how we hope our traffic would go in this city. But we can never achieve that. I was going about 60 miles an hour more.
just hope it's a little slower because of the wireless, but.
There we go.
Okay, this is better. Again, this is looking south down Henry Street. This is the intersection of Henry Street and East Worcester Street. And this is looking northwest from apartments at 5th Avenue and Vineland Street. This is looking southwest along the terminal. And this is the view looking back to apartment buildings. This is Grafton Street and Waverly Street looking at the terminal entrance. And this is the terminal gate in the administrative building I talked about a few minutes ago right here. And this is a terminal gate looking back to Grafton Street. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you, Mr. O'Connell. We're going to open up because predominant impact of this proposal is in Councilor Palmieri's district. And since he's a member of the committee, I'll begin with comments from him. But before we do, I would like to also recognize in the audience that we have former mayor and current city councilor Constantina Lukes with us this evening. I don't know if there's any other councilor. No. All right. With that, Councilor Palmieri.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Clancy and Chairman Petty. I certainly want to thank you for allowing me to speak first. And I'll open with something as positive as I can say about the project. I quite honestly don't think that there is a project in recent memory in our city's history that's more important to our district, our city, our state, and the region. And quite honestly, I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to complete this project in a way that will make just about everyone happy in this room. We know and understand that there is dramatic impacts with transportation, and commuter rail as part of this package I think is extraordinarily important. Without the commuter rail cooperation as part of the package, I don't think that this could really move forward, not from my vantage point. But once again, I'm thrilled to see that CSX has finally stepped up and has made a proposal that we need to talk about and we need to have our community discuss these very, very important issues. Because with freight, commuter rail, and with hopefully the possibility in the very, very near future of City Square coming, it doesn't get any bigger than this for our city, for the future of our city, and how we will be able to move forward. I'm just thrilled beyond comprehension about this proposal on the plus side. On the opposite side of the track, we do have a neighborhood that is going to be impacted by this proposal. And Mr. O'Connell has suggested to us that there are a whole host of things that will be happening. Certainly the Putnam Lane issue, I think, is the closing of the bridge is a very, very big issue in how we deal with that issue. And I would ask the chairman, as well as the subcommittee, if that is the only option, and I'm hopeful that we might be able to see whether there is geometry in place that could look at that issue, even with the possibility of another bridge in the immediate area. You know, that's money and it's cost, but when we look at how a city, how a state, and how a district wants to cooperate, well, we know how important it is for CSX, and we know how important it is for our city. We also know that our immediate community has to be as positively impacted by this proposal. That's, I think, certainly one of the issues. It is from Union Station to Piccadilly Plaza, the only cut through to be able to access the neighborhood in and around Plantation is where? It's Putnam Lane. And where will we add the traffic? To Plantation, which is already under, has more traffic on it than we can possibly imagine. So I would suggest that we continue to take a look at the geometry of how this works and whether there are other options. And I'm hopeful that CSX, as well as the state and the federal government, will look at that, because there are major bridge programs in this state. I think there's an enormous amount of resources that could possibly make that result a more positive result. The issue of truck traffic, I think, is, to say the least, is a very serious issue. The connection to Grafton Street with this ramp that Mr. O'Connell was talking about, I think, is partly, I think, a terrific idea. But less than 200, 300, 400 yards down the highway, we have the Shrewsbury Street off-ramp. Coming down I-290, connecting up and seeing that traffic and trying to get off the Shrewsbury Street off-ramp, I think, will be somewhat of a challenge. Once again, I think that we need to take a look at the geometry of how these things work. Going in the opposite direction, going through our Golden Boulevard roundabout, and increasing the number of trucks that will come through there. I don't know whether that is the best use as we continue to see CSX grow. And I think CSX is going to grow and grow and grow and bring more jobs into our community. But we also know that having many, many more trucks come through that roundabout might be a bit of a problem. Maybe it's not a problem now, but I would hope that you would also look at that. And I think there are a host of other issues. I think we can talk about the retention ponds, and I think that those are important on your property, but I'd like to be able to also see the, whether it's municipal government or state government, to be able to oversee those ponds, to be able to make certain that they will be operating in the way that they should, so that they don't become the kind of pools that will have more problems than what we would need. I think under these, under the present governing laws that we have, I don't think that there's any agency that would be able to oversee those, any municipal or state agency. And I'm thrilled to hear that CSX is going to enhance their property, you know, with trees and the kind of enhancement that will make the property look far better. Because in the past, as a neighbor, you weren't the friendliest neighbor that we've had in the recent past for as long as I've been in office. And I think it's important that the footprint that you are surrounding our community at this point in time, there has to be dramatic change. And I'm hopeful that we're going to have the same type of cooperation as we're going to have today, as we will have with you in the future about the kinds of improvements that you'll make. Once again, some of these issues might be problematic for CSX, but there are other partners in the room. It's the state and federal government as well. And we know how important this project is to us. We want to be part of this. We want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem, because it's far too big. We can't miss this opportunity in our city's history for this program not to happen. This must happen. This has to happen for our city to move forward, to be the city that we've all dreamed it can be. But this is a two-way street. And we want to extend the olive branch and to make certain that we're going to work together to make it work for everyone. And that's important. I've heard your proposal. I've listened attentively. We've met privately on more than one occasion. But people in the audience, you know, who are immediately impacted by it will also have questions. But once again, I'm for the project, but we still have work. There still needs to be work that needs to be done so that we can move forward harmoniously. I want to thank the chairman, both Chairman Petty and Chairman Clancy, for allowing me to at least express my opinion about this particular issue. And let's move on, but let's move on in a way that will help everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Palmieri. Chairperson Petty.
Thank you, Council. And CSX State, Mr. O'Connell, and Mr. O'Brien, thank you for putting this together, and thank you for the presentation. This is a pretty good project, and the plus of this project, of course, is going to be the commuter rail and the additional trains. This is the whole purpose of this is. And with that, though, I think the biggest issue, as I think Council Palmieri has stated, is the protection of the neighborhood and how we're going to mitigate any impact on the neighborhood on this project. With that, and it really comes down to traffic, maintenance plans, and sound from which you went over, Mr. O'Connell, as far as, you know, the new tracks will mitigate sound, along with, I think, the new cranes that you're going to bring in. Maybe we can just begin with traffic a little bit. Mr. Chairman, you're just going to do the chairman's orders at the end of the meeting?
Yes, we'll do all the chairman's orders at the end of all the discussion by councilors.
Okay. And I guess you went over the traffic plan with the new entrance, not the new entrance, but you're going to have an accelerated lane on Grafton Street going to 290. And I was just curious, how are you going to get to the Mass Pike? And what's the best avenue going to the Pike? It won't be down, hopefully it won't be down Grafton Street and into the but it will be using 290 mostly. If you can force the trucks to go that way, I'm not sure, but I'm sure you have a lot of direction to the trucks that do come into your establishment.
Yes, and again, the purpose of this for us is to hear the community input, to hear input from the city council and chairman. The traffic today, as I said, off of Franklin Street, that will be moved to Grafton. And off of Grafton, the trucks will enter 290 if they're going eastbound to the Pike. Because if they have to go 290 east, they get right on the 290 east ramp off of Grafton Street. It's a short commute on Grafton onto the on-ramp.
So you'll force them to take a right onto Grafton. When you're coming out of your place on Grafton Street, you'll force them to take a right?
Right, we will submit a traffic plan, but we're looking for input from the council, from the community on what works here. We want to work on something, or we want to have a final product here that works for the city and that works for CSX. So if that is a recommendation, that is something certainly we will look at.
Sure. Okay. And because I think that's going to be one of the serious issues. We don't want the truck traffic going through the neighborhoods, if at all possible. Right now, I believe you have around, I think I read in the report, we went over this, but
right,
around 400?
400 trucks today.
Per day.
And with the additional traffic, the relocation out of Beacon Park, that will be an additional 80 to 100 trucks per day.
So we'll say $500 per day versus 400. So additional 100 a day. Okay. And most of that traffic goes northeast versus west?
It's a split. These really it's all directional. There's some, half will probably go west, half will go east, onto 290.
And the ones that go west, I would presume, would use the Mass Pike, so in east, but
correct.
Okay, so that's a huge issue then. So we can address that in your traffic study that you'll present to the council.
Correct.
Okay. On maintenance plans, one of the concerns I think as a neighborhood is probably, if you could, not to see CSX yard. I think part of your original plan was to put trees, fences, et cetera. Is that, maybe you can go into a little detail for the audience as far as what your plans are for trees?
Right. We want to plant trees to create buffer zones between the terminal and the community. We have currently a Trees for Tracks program at CSX. CSX operates in 23 states, 21,000 miles, and we're planting a tree for every mile of track that we own. And we are planning a service day here in Worcester in early May in conjunction with City Air, which we're a sponsor of. We're going to put a team on the ground here to plant trees. But the trees that will be planted around this terminal will act as a buffer between the terminal and the neighborhoods.
Okay. And we'll see your maintenance plan on that?
There's a maintenance plan. I just want to address that briefly here, if I may. I have worked with the Councilor Haller to clean up the South Gate area. We've been in there a few times to clean it up. That effort continues. We're going to do that again in the spring. We're working on a security initiative with the council. We have some issues with trespassing on our tracks, and a couple of things that we have done. We've worked with the City of Worcester Police Department. We have a program where we go into schools and we talk to students about the dangers of trespassing on railroad tracks. We want to clean it up. We want to increase our security in certain parts of the city so that we can stop the illegal dumping on CSX. But, we're a partner here. We're spending $100 million here to accommodate commuter service and to grow our business, to create jobs. We're not spending $100 million and walking away from Worcester. We're going to be a partner here going forward.
Those are nice words. Thank you. And are you going to provide the council and the city manager an operational type of plan? I know you had mentioned when you're talking about the trucks driving down to the turnaround, coming back up, you said it'd be mostly during the day. And so you're going to provide a more detailed plan on how many employees you're going to have on per shift, what your expectations are for truck traffic during what type of hours. Is that something we can expect in the future?
Yeah, we will certainly take a look at that. It's, the business is, the volumes change as the economy changes, obviously. Today, a lot of the work that, when you think about the building there on the east end, a lot of that work occurs during the daytime hours. And we expect that to be the trend going forward. But we can certainly take a look and try to pinpoint.
Maybe as part of the report, you can provide us mitigation on sound
Yes.
And also on your lights, and what, I presume the lights are going to be on all night in this
Right.
establishment. What kind of lights do you plan on putting in there?
There'll be about 70 feet, the towers, and there'll be directional lighting. But again, we're open to suggestions from the council.
And directional lighting for the audience means what?
Directional lighting meaning that the lights will only shine on those parts of the terminal.
Right.
There shouldn't be an impact to the community.
To the neighborhood, okay. In the plan, you plan on negotiating with some property owners. Is the additional, what, 20, how many acres you're adding? You're adding
28 acres.
28 acres.
11
so
parcels.
in those parcels, you end up taking tax-paying property, which pays a commercial tax rate to the city of Worcester. And I'm not sure if you're tax exempt or not, or is that...
No, we pay taxes.
You pay taxes.
We pay
But
taxes on the
I
terminal.
would assume that the rate would go down, or the taxes would go down after you take over the properties, because the buildings won't be there anymore. Is that a good assumption?
Yeah, I think we need to take a look at this when the terminal is complete. You know, obviously, it's a $100 million investment. We think there are, in the long term, there'll be jobs gained. There'll be, and again, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, there's a good possibility when you think about the efficiencies of double stack and what that means to customers who move these goods, that there'd be some distribution centers around here, and of course the economic development that comes with commuter rail. I think in the out years here, you're going to see a real gain going forward. So, yeah, I think when we have the terminal done, we'll have a better idea of what that number is going to look like and what the tax increase for CSX will be. But they'll certainly, my guess is there'll be an increase.
Maybe, Mr. Manager, you can provide a report on the valuations of the properties now versus what it might be afterwards, and the impact on the taxes paid to the city of Worcester, if you can do that. One other question I had was, as the, and we're talking about maybe a couple of years for the trains, et cetera, that will come hopefully very shortly after this. What's the impact, and how are you going to mitigate the impact to the neighborhood for the additional trains that the MBTA plans on adding, and the state plans on adding to Worcester? I think we're looking for another additional, 25 trains, or?
Yes, the details are, we're scheduled to close once they complete this in September 2012. And at that point, we're looking at 20 additional trains to increase the service to here. With regard to the impacts, obviously there's
Traffic, parking, and
traffic
noise.
and parking. That's something, as we get closer, we're going to obviously want to work with the city to address the schedule, the parking, all the necessary things so that we can have a long-term successful growth in the commuter rail, just like we have over the last 15 years as we've begun to grow commuter rail again here. So I'm confident that we can.
This is an important issue. I think one of the issues that, as a city council, I've heard, I'm sure the other councils have heard, is the starting of the trains in the morning can be heard on the Shrewsbury Street neighborhood and the elderly towers in that area. So somehow, when you do present your plans, how we're going to address that now and in the future. But I look forward to working with you. I think, and if you come back with those reports, the sound, how you're going to handle sound, traffic, maintenance, I think that's what the neighborhood wants to see in writing, and any type of agreements the city is going to make with the city manager. Because after this is all done, one of the biggest concerns from our past experience is how do you making sure that partnership continues. Whether we enter in some type of an agreement with CSX on a continuous basis after this is done also, because maintenance is important, because we've had other, not CSX railroads, but other railroads in the northern part of the city where this is trash, bridge issues on a continuous basis. And so we just want to make sure we get something, you can work that out, Mr. Manager, in writing, et cetera. And, but I do appreciate you being upfront with the community and straightforward, and also you becoming a partner of the city of Worcester. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Petty. Before I recognize Councilor Toomey, I want to recognize Mayor Joe O'Brien, who's in the audience, up in the balcony. Good to see you, Mayor O'Brien. Councilor Toomey.
Thank you, Chairman. we had several conversations, and I'm thrilled about the partnership that will be strengthened as we move forward in these discussions, both with you and the city and the neighborhood that you are in. I think that there are a lot of questions that will be answered soon in some of the reports. I have concern also, as did my colleagues, about traffic entering Grafton Street, and I know that that will be addressed. One of the concerns that I had mentioned before, and I just want to reiterate, was where there are residences on Franklin Street, and we talked about fencing, to make sure that it is an appropriate type of fencing, that it's more than just wire fencing, that it's more attractive to the community, and I think that's important. And shrubs and trees on both sides to deaden the noise. So with that, the other real concern that I have is, and could you please explain to me about your process of how you deal with hazardous materials that will be coming through from the port, either west or east? Where do they stay when they're dropped off in the yard? Are they then tracked from train to truck to highway? Do they stay on the train and move out? I think we need to have a complete comprehensive plan as to what is happening. I mean, it's a very congested area population-wise, and it's a great concern that I have.
Mr. Chairman, hazardous materials, there'll be no hazardous materials on this site in Worcester. And we do have partnerships across our system with first responders, and we share information with the first responders as to what we are moving, and we're open to having that conversation here in Worcester, but there will be no hazardous materials on this site.
That's very very good to hear that, because I think that that's a concern for anybody, especially where you're expanding the yard, and we want to make sure that it's safe for our community. But for the most part, I think my colleagues had asked a lot of the questions, and I look forward to getting the report on that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Toomey. Before I recognize Councilor Haller, I want to recognize Councilor Rick Rushton, who has entered the chamber. Councilor Haller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to say just a few words because I'm really interested in hearing what the community has to say. This is a very exciting project. I agree with the comments of Councilor Palmieri in many ways, and I also have some kind of nitty-gritty questions, which I'm sure we'll answer as we vet this whole thing out. So that's it. Would like to hear from the people here.
Thank you, Councilor Haller. I would just add, as briefly as I can be, at first hearing about this proposal, I was not enamored of it because I'm not a big fan of rail yards. And I thought as the rail yard grew, that there would be significant issues with the neighborhood, many of which Councilor Palmieri has pointed out. However, I also know the plus side. And to me, the real plus side of the expansion is getting commuter rail to the city of Worcester through the Department of Transportation and adding 20 trains a day for commuter use, I think is potentially huge for our economic development of this city, whether it's in industrial, which of course the railroad could add, whether it's in business, securing businesses, or in securing residences. And certainly on the Canal District, that is something that is sought. And I think with the increase of commuter rail, something that we've all worked for, and I know Councilor Palmieri and I had a press conference at Washington Roundabout as it was being completed, Washington Square Roundabout 2 years ago, insisting that we have a commuter rail summit, which we did have, and the case was pressed, both with Department of Transportation, MBTA, and of course CSX. I too am concerned about the mitigation issues surrounding the neighborhood. I understand the need for wanting to use Grafton Street as the main entrance. I'm assuming that with a 120-foot acceleration lane that you would like to use to access the Grafton Street on-ramp, you'd be taking all the businesses along Grafton Street on the easterly side? Are we adding a lane to Grafton Street? How do we do that?
No, we are not taking any of the businesses on Grafton Street. The lane is coming off our terminal gate area onto Grafton so we can get onto 290, but there are no plans to take the businesses. Right.
So the existing gate. All right. I would like to see no left turn, if that becomes a possibility. I don't want to see any of those trucks traveling up Grafton Street because of the incline and because of the impact it would have on the traffic in that particular area. But to also address some of the other issues there, if, and I hope CSX really, with the Department of Transportation, looks very carefully at whether or not we can keep Putnam Lane open or some access to Shrewsbury Street open. But if that should not be the case, and that access cannot remain open, I think you still have to look at other alternatives as to how to mitigate traffic that would then use other routes to gain access to Shrewsbury Street. For example, if Putnam Lane were closed, and I certainly hope it doesn't get closed, but if it were to close, that would put tremendous pressure on Plantation Street, particularly at the intersection of Atchison. And when that happens currently, when a car wants to take a left turn onto Atchison to access Shrewsbury Street, no other cars can get by who are traveling eastbound on Plantation Street at that particular point. So that intersection would have to be significantly upgraded. The other traffic issues relating to train traffic would deal with sound barriers. And I'm not sure how extensive CSX gets with sound barriers as they abut residential neighborhoods, but I'm sure it's something that needs to be considered as we move forward, especially in the areas that Councilor Palmieri mentioned, Atlanta, Tampa Street area, Princeton Place, as it affects the residents in that particular area. For the MBTA, as they move forward, one of the impacts we have is that along the current route from Boston to Worcester, which is along, we'll call it the Lake Avenue area, I'm glad to hear we'll have fewer trains from CSX, but we're also, on the other hand, going to be adding significantly to the number of trips from the MBTA. I guess you said 20 more trips per day. And I'm wondering if sound barriers could be considered along that particular corridor as they impact the residents in that neighborhood. And there is a significant impact to those neighbors. And it's not a lengthy area, but it's, you know, it's significant enough. And many of the residents in that area not only hear it, but feel it. I know there's not much that can be done about feeling the tremors of the railroad, but certainly the sounds come to mind. So sound barriers are important. We're also going to ask a chairman's order on the tax issue. We'd like the tax city assessor to take a very close look on what the city tax impact would be, whether it's revenue neutral, whether we have a decrease in tax payments, or whether there'd be an uptick in tax payments, and we'll add that to our list of chairman's orders. And we're also very concerned and hopeful that when construction takes place, that we can not only have the construction be for union labor, but that we can also have the construction involve as many city workers, city residents as possible. Because we've been strong proponents, all of us at this table, and the other members in the room, have always been very strong proponents of using union and city residents in the construction that takes place, especially things that cross our desk and come under our purview. And we've been very strong proponents with most of the things that the city's been able to build where it comes under our control. So we would hope that that would be a serious consideration from CSX, and we'll add that also as a chairman's order for the city manager to try to secure from CSX a commitment for that, because we feel that's also most important. And with that, I think you've heard a lot of the concerns that we have, but there are also concerns that we have in the audience. But before we, Councilor Lukes, do you have anything to add? I know the mayor has nothing at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think a lot of the questions I had written down have been addressed, although I think we all realize that this project will happen, but that doesn't negate public input, public response, and a certain amount of city direction still is involved in this. And when I was listening to the questions, I was somewhat surprised as to the issue of tax exempt. My preliminary research indicates that there are so many rods on each side of a track that are tax exempt. Is that not correct?
Through the chair.
Right, through the chair.
Could you just give us a brief description of any tax exempt issues that are common to the railroad?
Sure, and I can provide that information.
Okay, we'll ask as a chairman's order then. Okay, thank you.
Well, can you just tell me, is that correct, though? Is there tax exempt? Are there tax exempt issues here?
The track in the terminal or the terminal itself is taxed, but as far as the right of way or the main line, I believe you're correct.
All right, thank you. So we're going to get more information as to how much of this expanded facility is going to be tax exempt. You also have the right of eminent domain. You're acting on a very tight schedule. You want to have these issues resolved and move in by 2012. Do you intend to take land by eminent domain?
Right now, we're negotiating with property owners, and the intention here is to continue those negotiations and reach agreement with all the property owners.
All right, but is eminent domain, as far as you're concerned, not going to be part of the process?
That is not on the table at this point, no.
At this point in time?
It's not on the table. We are negotiating with the property owners. From the start of this process, we wanted to be transparent. We waited for the public announcement before we contacted any of the property owners. We want to do this the right way, and that's why we waited until going public before we actually reached out to the property owners.
All right, so you're telling me it's not going to be part of the process at all?
Right. What I'm saying is right now we are negotiating with the property owners. That's our intention, to have those negotiations with the property owners and to come up with a process that works for both the property owner and CSX.
Well, thank you. If I were a property owner, I'd still feel uncomfortable. As to the new ramp, who's going to own that ramp and who's going to maintain it?
The overpass?
The overpass.
Yeah, the overpass on Franklin Street, that's going to be subject to a negotiation with the city.
So you want the city to own it and to maintain it?
We're going to construct it, obviously, but we have to have that discussion with the city as to who's going to maintain it.
Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that we need to be part of that discussion.
There's no question of that, Councilor. Don't worry. We have no intention of maintaining that if they're using it for their exclusive use.
Well, I think we've got somewhat of an answer to that issue. when we talk about employees, are the contractors for this project going to be Worcester contractors?
There'll be a concerted effort made to hire local residents to do this work, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Residents.
And,
Those
and
would be my questions.
it'll be union labor.
No, I'm more concerned with local labor. I know that railroad contractors are hard to find, so I'm not sure.
There are
about
5 of us
that.
at this table, Counselor, who are interested in union labor.
Okay, all right. I'm just wondering what the market will bear. All right, thank you.
Counselor Rushton, do you have any questions? Clarifications? No? Okay. I have one more, though. This overpass
Yes.
on Franklin Street, you're going to add 100 trucks per day to your operation here. You currently have 400, you say,
Correct.
and they use Franklin Street currently, all of them.
Correct.
And I travel Franklin Street frequently because that's my access to the downtown area. I usually avoid Grafton Street, but Franklin Street is a common route I take. And I don't notice an overabundance, let's say, of trucks, although I do notice, they will stack up at times. Has thought been considered to putting in a traffic light where you want your entrances as opposed to a bridge?
The bridge, we're putting in the bridge so that our
To
trucks
go from one
our
access point to the other.
our trucks will go underneath the bridge to access the terminal.
Oh, so
The
you're
bridge
building
itself-
the bridge.
The bridge itself will be
Franklin Street.
vehicular traffic, correct.
So how does that impact the buildings on Franklin Street?
There's an impact to one.
You're
one
going from the
business.
higher end of Franklin Street, right?
Right. It's
In
here. I'll show
Norfolk
it.
Street. So how high would that bridge be?
14 feet so that our trucks can get underneath it.
All right, and you're intending to take out the retail store at the corner, buying it
The
at the corner of Franklin.
right.
Norfolk.
Correct.
However,
That's right.
all right, so it was sat there, and then where does it come back to Franklin Street? Is it near the fire station?
Near Arctic Street.
Fire station,
Right.
which is at the corner there of Arctic. How does it impact those the brick buildings that are on the side on Franklin Street?
The access should remain to those buildings. And again, we think this is an improvement because there will be no truck traffic on Franklin Street. All of our truck traffic will go out underneath the bridge and
Onto
onto Grafton
Grafton,
Street.
right.
So we think
I
this is an
understand that.
improvement. And to get our trucks away from the fire department, I think, is also helpful to the fire department. So there will be no truck traffic on Franklin Street.
Right, I understand.
Right.
That's the whole point of. But did you consider a grade crossing? That was my basic question, rather than a bridge.
Grade crossings are inherently unsafe. Whenever you can grade separate something, that's always the safest option. Whenever you have the type of truck
So you-
traffic in and out of this,
So you
the
did
type of
consider grade crossing?
I'm sorry.
You
Yeah,
did.
we looked at a lot of options here. When we first started developing this plan, the plan was to close Franklin Street. We looked at a traffic study of 20 to 25,000 cars a day, and
That wasn't
realized
gonna happen,
that was
right?
not going to happen. Correct.
Right.
So that's when the determination was made to build the overpass, which is 10% of the construction cost at the terminal.
Okay. I'm just thinking that maybe some of the costs for the bridge could be, if you considered a grade crossing, the cost of that bridge, which is significant, 10%, you say, could be put back into neighborhood considerations.
With the truck traffic in and out of the
But we'll get
terminal.
to that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think with the truck traffic in and out of the
I
terminal.
know you want to secure your site,
Right.
correct? Is
Correct.
that-
You want to have a secure site, but the amount of trucks coming in and out of the terminal and intermingling or commingling with the vehicular traffic, as we think is unsafe. So separating the truck traffic from the vehicle traffic, I think, is better for the community from a safety perspective and for.
On-site, are you saying there'll be more than 100? So on-site, there'll be more than 100 trucks.
500 a day.
Or is 400 now?
Correct.
On-site, does that increase beyond the 100? I know you said 100 going in onto Grafton Street, but is there more traffic on-site besides the 500?
Well, you have.
With the double stacks, and I'm just curious as to.
You'll have some traffic in the terminal, those containers that are not, if you don't have the customer there to pick them up, there'll be some jockeying in the terminal to move the container to a parking spot so that when the truck does arrive, the truck can just hook onto the chassis and move it out of the terminal. So there'll be some traffic in the terminal that won't be on.
And you'll be doing noise studies.
Correct. Correct.
We did have considerable issues with the Providence and Worcester yard over in Quinsigamon Village, and there were some issues over on Southbridge Street with the noise. This was maybe, but there was also the container, with the container movement. We got a more of Quinsig Village because it was close to residences. And maybe you could give us a report as to whether or not technology has changed much in 5 years since we had those issues. Excuse me, with Providence and Worcester or the Weiser Ave container yard.
The cranes that we plan to use here are they're quieter than the cranes that we're using today. They're almost what we use today. We have a driver that's almost like a big forklift. On average, they're probably 20, 25 years old. These are quieter. We did go back to the manufacturer to ask the manufacturer if they can put additional mufflers on them to make them quieter than they currently are. So we're working with the manufacturer to make them even quieter than they are when they come out onto the marketplace.
Okay. Thank you. Chairman Petty is going to read the chairman's orders for the record, and he'll submit them to the clerk. Sure. And after we read those, if we missed any, let us know.
Okay. And again, okay.
So Hal.
One of the questions that we had was, there are any city bridges that are going to be impacted with allowing for the double-stacked containers? Will any city bridges be impacted?
Question is if there's going to be any bridges in Worcester.
Are we going to have to redo some of the bridges in Worcester in order to get these double-stacked containers out?
I'll have to double check and see exactly where those bridges are. James Street, I'm being told James Street is one of them. There's 15 bridges from the New York border all the way in that we need to do, and so we can double check exactly what those are.
You know that.
Do you know, Maurice?
I think Maurice knows.
There's 2. So we can get.
We need to know those, Mr. Chairman, right? Because there may be some issues with those locations as well.
I know.
So okay. So we add that to it. Your
I apologize, but we'll
make sure that's part of the chairman's order so we know which, if any, bridges will be impacted.
And then a question that I believe I know the answer to, but I'd like to ask it publicly: is there any connection with this project and the Worcester Airport?
No.
Is that it? You can finish that one off. All right, Chairman Petty's going to read the chairman's orders so everybody knows exactly what further information we're asking for, and then we'll take public testimony and add any chairman's orders from there from your concerns.
Okay. Request the city manager review of CSX's traffic study and provide city council with a report on its findings. Request city manager secure from CSX a written report on the scope and data of existing CSX operations on Franklin Street, hours of operation, number of employees, number of trucks entering and exiting per day, and direction and routes these trucks take to enter and to leave the city in this site, and further compare these items to the impact of the proposed expansion. Request city manager secure from CSX a summary of peak freight periods for both overroad and overrail during a 24-hour period and a 7-day period. Provide a summary for both existing and proposed operations to include times and volumes of truck traffic that would proceed to the easterlymost cul-de-sac of Atlanta Street. Request city manager secure an operational plan from CSX detailing how they will further their truck traffic from the proposed site to access all major highway routes networks. Further request the city administration develop the necessary right-of-way signage program to effectuate the operational plan for approval by the City Council. Request city manager secure from CSX a definite binding site maintenance plan to include all parameters, fencing, planting, brush, trash, drainage retention basins, snow storage, new overpass, and all other assets on the property. Request CSX to present their sound study of the proposed project. Request and the exterior lighting of the proposed site at the next joint standing committee, as well as the necessary mitigation measures to alleviate any neighborhood impacts. Request city manager secure actual site plans for his facility and actual planting plans to include all buffer plantings and review the conformance to all city codes and ordinances, and further request the city administration report on these to the City Council. Request city manager determine what actions the state and MBTA will take to address sound, traffic, parking, and other impact of 25 additional commuter trains to and from Worcester. Request a report from the city manager as to valuations, assessed value, taxes paid, currently in post-development proposal within the footprint of the proposed development. Request city manager secure a comprehensive report from CSX to present all studies, analysis, and estimates of alternatives of the closure of Putnam Lane, and CSX present this report at the next joint standing committee. Request city manager secure a report from CSX that presents all studies, analysis, and estimates of alternatives to the proposed maintenance and way stations located at the easterlymost section of the site and is assessed off Atlanta Street. Request city manager to hold discussions with the CSX to secure commitments for all construction work to be completed with union labor and, when possible, with city residents. And maybe we also can include that buy future supplies from city vendors if possible. Request city manager ask CSX if there are any optional available to maintain the opening of Putnam Lane. Request city manager secure from CSX the current number of trips per day and week to and from Boston, and further secure the number of trips with proposed plan. Request city manager report to City Council on the effects of the tax revenues on CSX proposal. Request city manager report to the council on the number of bridges that are going to be impacted within the city of Worcester. And maybe we also get a traffic study from if Putnam Lane is closed, what would be traffic study, traffic impact on Plantation Streets, and et cetera. If we get that from our city traffic people.
Okay, we can add the air quality. Council Palmieri?
Did you mention alternatives for the entrance on east and west on I-290? We talk about different options they've presented, their ramp option and the other option that they've suggested was.
Okay, we're going to add that.
Was the truck traffic coming by Union Station.
Yep.
I would like to know whether there is any other alternative plans that can be made to get trucks on the east and westbound sides of I-290.
I-290, okay.
Other than what has been
Proposed.
proposed.
Okay. We'll add that.
Councilor Rushing?
Yeah, I just got a couple questions. Obviously, this you can see for this committee and some of the questions, we're very concerned about neighborhood issues and making sure that this great potential asset doesn't end up being a real pain in the butt, to our neighborhood. So the tremendous benefits really kind of degrade the areas around it to make them unlivable. That's something that we don't want to happen. That being said, I foresee a huge economic boost to this area, and through the chair to maybe the city manager, that we could have a report on other areas where CSX has done similar changes. What has been the economic effect? I mean, obviously, if you're bringing a huge rail yard to an area, you assume distributors or Walmart, Home Depot, whoever is a huge distributor of goods is going to want to be close to that area. So I'd love to be able to, as a city, to capitalize on those possibilities. And if that is something that's shown that has occurred in these other municipalities where these type of expansions have occurred, then also some ideas from the city on what areas of Worcester we might want to preserve as areas where we could help, companies that want to locate here to be a part of the distribution chain, so to speak. So, but all the other questions were great.
Put that
Thank you.
in Jim and Todd. All right. If people who are interested in making comments or asking for further information, if you come to the microphone, simply give us your name and your city or town of residence. Name and city or town of residence. Thank you.
My name is Joe Capone. I own property on Franklin Street, and I live off of Plantation Street. I'd like to first start off saying that I think this is a great project for the city, and I hope it happens. However, it's not a very good project for the neighborhood that it's going to impact, mainly the Plantation, Franklin, Shrewsbury Street area. I'll start with public safety. If you have a police that has to be called to the Science Center, and he happens to be on Shrewsbury Street, the response time is probably going to increase by 5 minutes. He's going to be forced to go down to Washington Square, around Franklin, and back up. Putnam Lane if it's closed. At Atlanta Street, the maintenance garage calls for 25 employees. That means there'll be 50 people leaving a shift at 7 o'clock and at 3 o'clock. You live in a neighborhood, and you ever try to travel down Plantation Street, it's backlogged from the honey farms to the fire station. So with those people trying to cross the street and the additional cars coming down Plantation that would normally take a left and go down Putnam, it's going to bring tremendous pressure onto Plantation, and it's going to get backed up to Holmes Field. It's going to be another public safety issue. At Atlanta Street, the traffic trying to come out of there at 3 o'clock, if they don't have a cop there, you can't get one car out of Belcedo's parking lot to cross the street at 3 o'clock, let alone a crew of 25. If they can't get out, you can't get a fire truck or an ambulance down the street because it's a one-lane road. So these are things that are going to tremendously impact the neighborhood. Anybody that lives from Hamilton Street to Honey Farms, Harrington Way, and the other side of the bridge. I don't see any way that it would be safe for ambulance without Putnam Lane being open, and Atlanta Street would be a nightmare with the traffic trying to get onto the street. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
City Manager, Councilors. My name is Ed Escobar. I own 45 Arctic Street. Actually, it would be nice if we could put that up on the board. My question is this. Obviously, I am going to have I have a redevelopment project that's down there right off Arctic Street. It abuts the CSX property right now. There's going to be some large impacts that I see for myself. Something that I've gone to planning, zoning, city council. I've also laid out a transparent plan and invested millions down there. I don't oppose this. I looking to understand direction from both CSX and the city that is. But I do have a concern in regards to expansion. We're talking about going from the Alston, and I believe that is 80 acres, and you're increasing it right now by another 23. If you look at the plan, and I'm looking at it, on the page that I have in front of me, it would make sense, obviously, if it was going to move in that direction. What is the overall ambition of the plan in regards to the expansion? I mean, what's the foreseeable future as far as expansion? We're going, again, you're talking about being the largest hub in all of Mass, and so my concern is obviously the investment of the amount of money that I'm putting into the redevelopment project that I have. and obviously the foreseeable future of that investment.
Just briefly, is there another phase or expansion planned?
You know, this plan is the plan for the terminal. There are no plans right now to expand it beyond what you're looking at here. And we worked real hard to try to fit this in an area that we understand is difficult, and we are constrained based on the area. So we worked real hard to try to make this as compact as possible, and to be able to serve our customers and serve those customers that we're currently serving out of the Beacon Park in Boston.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Edgar.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that obviously I look forward to, again, work with the city and continue my investment with the city. So,
thank you.
Hi, my name is Ron Gistoni, and I hope that the City Council and the City of Worcester will stand by their citizens, as well as this gentleman. I'm all for progress. I own a piece of property on Grafton Street, which is going to be totally impacted by this. And again, I am for progress, but this is going to be a regress for me, because with 30,000 cars and more a day on Grafton Street, I owned Frank's Flower Shop for 40 years, paid taxes here for quite a long time, probably serviced half the people in this building. I have the building up for sale or lease right now, and it's going to impact me immensely, because with 500 trucks parked in front of my store all day, I'm holding back right now from leasing or selling that property, because of the fact that I know this situation is going to totally transform what I have to do with that corner. And with this that's happening, it's going to really be detrimental to me, because my property is no longer going to be of use to anybody with 500 trailer trucks parked in front of it all day. And that's what's going to happen, because I know, I've been there for 40 years, and I know how hard it is for anybody to get in and out of Barber Lane to come into my business, which hasn't been there since 2008, or the people next door to me. So I really look forward to seeing what the City Council can do to help us as citizens that have been paying taxes for quite a long time. That piece of property that I worked for, again, 40 years under my father-in-law, who had it before me, and for the last 25 years myself, that was, so to speak, my retirement. And now I look at what's going to happen, and if CSX isn't going to purchase or at least utilize that property for some part of their business, it's definitely going to put a bind on me. And I'm only one citizen, and I am for progress, sir. I really am. I just hope that you can work. Your opening statements were that you want to work with the people that abut you, and you want to work with the citizens. But I have to tell you, if you're going to pull 500 trucks out of your parking lot on a daily basis, along with 30,000 cars and more per day in a 24-hour period, it is definitely going to impact the sale of my property or the lease of my property, because no one will be able to get in and out of that driveway. And I mean that sincerely. It'll be almost virtually impossible, because your trucks are going to be parked in the right-hand lane. The two lanes, or the one lane next to it, by the way, the light stays green for the on-ramp, stays red for the traffic going down Grafton Street. So what happens is that the right-hand lane is constantly moving so that no one can get in and out of that driveway. So now with trailer trucks coming in and out of it, and it's the only way you want them to go is right turn, 120-foot expansion lane, I'm asking you, if you're going to do that, I really need to know that you're going to take it all the way to the ramp, because 120 feet is going to bring you or abut you to the building that's right there, which is owned by the Walshes, I believe. And it's just going to totally close us down. And again, I'm all for progress, but you're going to progress, I'm going to regress. And I'm just a small guy, and I just wanted to voice my opinion.
Maybe through Chairman's office, the manager can identify with CSX some of the impacted properties, negative impacted properties that are not included, that you have not identified as a parcel that you're going to purchase, and maybe through the administration, you can work together for any property owners that might want to at least approach the administration, CSX, and provide that avenue anyways.
Right. We've asked for traffic impact too, specifically on Grafton Street.
I'm where the old Frank's Flower
Right at
Shop
the
used to be,
entrance.
165
Right at the
Grafton
entrance
Street.
of the on-ramp.
When they put 290 in, 45 feet of my they put the ramp in and
Okay.
took 45 feet of property, and then Shaw's went in. And it's just, I don't want it to become an ongoing nightmare. And I want you to know I am all for progress.
Okay.
I just hope you can work with me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening. I'm George Kajali, the current chairman of the Grafton Hill Business Association. Our territory of the
And Worcester
association-
resident.
Excuse me?
And Worcester resident.
And also a Worcester resident in the general vicinity of this plan. Our organization over the years has always taken responsibility both for our businesses and the residents to try help come up with the best solution. Right off the bat, I want to tell you that we are planning an open meeting of the neighborhood on March 24th. And I invite the city management as well as CSX to be present at that meeting. I'll leave the information referencing. We feel that we can best bring forward the residents of that area. And by the way, that plan covers 1/4 of the city residents, which are all Grafton Hill residents. And it covers the main arteries of Grafton Street, Route 20, Plantation Street, all the way to Route 9. I have a couple of general questions. I've heard, we've talked around the entrance on Grafton Street, and it sounds as if it's strictly going to accommodate all traffic coming off 290, east or west. Is that true? Is that the only way traffic will be coming from 290?
That's the entrance. That's the proposed entrance.
At that entrance, are we saying all truck traffic will be coming?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what they're
Nothing
saying.
down Route Grafton Street coming down or exiting?
There will be no entrance on Franklin Street. It'll be on Grafton Street. That's what CSX proposal is.
Yeah, all the traffic will enter and exit on Grafton.
Okay. The other thing, for my own information, I know this is a staging terminal. Does that mean you will just farm trains with the double containers to go out, or will you be unloading them in that area as well?
Yeah, the trains will come in. The containers will be removed. They will go on trucks, and they will exit the facility. Containers will also come into the facility, be put on rail cars, and will exit the terminal.
Okay, so it's a two-way street.
Is that what happens now?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. You mentioned of the Alston terminal. I thought I heard something to the effect you'll still be farming trains in Alston and bringing them in to Worcester?
No,
Totally.
that is not. That traffic is all being relocated out of the Alston yard to Westboro and Worcester.
Okay.
We'll still service our customers in eastern Massachusetts, but that traffic will move at night.
Very good. The Putnam Lane has been an issue, and everybody seems to be aware of it. Just for a matter of information, that Putnam Lane Bridge has probably been there since 1835, and it's not a very big bridge. I think the council is right in thinking something should be done to maintain that Putnam Lane and maybe come up with a new bridge, much wider, and maintain that connection.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
Yeah. I'll leave the
We'll
meeting
leave that
information.
with the clerk. The city clerk will take that item for us. Thank you, Judge.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. I'm Mike Testa. I'm the Grafton Hill Neighborhood Association president. I think this is a great opportunity for the city of Worcester. I just have two questions. First of all, Mr. Clancy asked if you guys will be taking, when the trucks come out of Grafton Street, will you be taking just a right? Will there be any trucks taking a left? Okay, that's one question. And then the second question would be, from the lower Grafton Hill, where you'd be coming onto 290, will you be widening that road? Will that road be widened, or, for trucks and traffic?
I think currently the proposed plan calls for a right or left turn, and we've asked that it be strictly right. If there's,
I mean, because there's a lot of.
I think you said there's no expansion of Grafton Street. No, Grafton Street remains as it currently exists in its current footprint. So, under their proposal, Grafton Street remains in its current footprint.
Okay. And the widening of the road, would there be any widening, on the lower Grafton?
They have no intention, but something we could look at.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Come right up. You can come right up too. You can be, you can wait right at the rail. Right.
Councilman,
right up.
thank you for giving me
Hi, Dennis.
a chance to say a few words.
Just give us your name.
Dennis Molinari, property owner of Tampa and Atlanta Street. One of my concerns, I have a question first I'd like to ask Mr. O'Connell. The building that they're going to be putting off of Atlanta Street, how large is it, and what type of functions will be worked on there?
Through the chair.
Through the chairman. I don't have the dimensions with me right now, but we can certainly get that information to you. And as I mentioned in my opening remarks, there'll be some work done there on the cranes, just some general maintenance work, and some work, maintenance work on some of our vehicles. There'll also be an administrative piece to that building as well.
The impact that I see in it.
That's a maintenance building.
Right. It's a maintenance building, and there'll be an administrative wing to that building as well.
And no idea of square footage?
But I can get that too.
Okay, so maybe we can ask for that too, the square footage of the various proposed buildings.
The impact, it's a neighborhood, and having cars coming and going through that neighborhood is a concern. And kids riding bikes, so on. The other concern is the impact of traffic coming on to Plantation Street at that time when they're out of work. It's bad enough at this point, so something needs to be worked on. Maybe something should be considered to relocate that building someplace off of Franklin Street where it's not going to impact anyone. One other suggestion, you're thinking about having your main exit onto Grafton Street. Suggestion would be is to move your entrance further back 200 yards so it doesn't interfere with the fire department, so you can still exit and still forward to come in instead of having it all go out Grafton Street. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
How many employees?
We've just taken testimony first. You can have a question later. All right. Yes, sir. This sir has been patient. This person's been patiently waiting. I want to fit in as many of these people as possible since they're here.
My name is Tim Burrows. I live on Lake Avenue in Worcester. And Councilor Clancy, you basically addressed the issues that I was mainly concerned with, and that's the traffic going on Lake Ave area. But currently, the T runs, I believe, 12 trains into Union Station. Well, I don't call it 12, I call it 24, because they go both ways. So with the influx of, I've heard 25, I heard 20, so you can double that. So it would be of great interest to the neighbors if you could do something for noise suppressing, because that will probably be like 75 trains going by the house. And as far as the freight goes, now, you indicated that the double stacks come in from New York and are going to be coming into Worcester and in Westboro.
Through the chairman.
Okay, Mr. O'Connell, just, I guess the question is, will double-track trains be going toward Westboro or from Westboro to Worcester?
Are they just stopping in Worcester?
They'll stop in Worcester.
Okay. I was under the impression that you're going to be utilizing Westboro for that also.
Westboro will be for another portion of our business coming out of Beacon Park. That's for TransFlow.
So currently the freight trains that are going on that stretch of Lake Ave now will be going later at night. Is that the intention?
The customers that we serve in eastern Massachusetts, east of Worcester, will be served during the nighttime hours, but there won't be as many trains, obviously, because we'll have most of our facilities Worcester West.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sid.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Leonard Schifredo, 289 Harrington Way in Worcester. I'm a resident of the area. I'm also chairperson of the Brown Square Crime Watch group. It's the neighborhood that's one of the two most affected by CSX's proposal, And I'd like to express my support for the project in general. I think the much-needed jobs in the city are a big plus. Although not the highest and best use for the land along Franklin Street, I think it's far better than what we have there now. So I'd be very supportive of it. That being said, our relationship with CSX goes back to probably the mid-'90s. They've been a less than stellar neighbor, as Mr. Palmieri had stated earlier. Basic, simple maintenance issues, repairing a hole in a fence to keep vagrants out of the neighborhood, overgrowth in the streets. Not only was it not addressed, it wasn't even acknowledged, and I don't care if the calls came from city councilors, state legislators, or the United States Congressman's office, and that's a little troubling. Our neighborhood group hasn't met to discuss this yet. We're going to do it on St. Patrick's Day, so we would invite all you councilors to come and have some green pastry, and I'm sure there's going to be some issues. Some of them were mentioned tonight, and I think the major impacts was at Atlantic Street. You have a stable neighborhood that you're looking to open up. And, I've looked at your proposed plan, and it says, it's 30 cars. But I also look further onto the plan, and it's an open freeway down along the tracks. So how long before it actually becomes a cut-through for either employees of CSX, kids at night who want a drag race? I don't know what your security plans are, but I think it's something that the neighborhood needs to have some input into. And certainly the biggest issue that we have is the closure of Putnam Lane. The east side, we have an inferiority complex, if you will. For years, when they built something in the city, they cut us off. When they built 290, they cut us off. When they built the Worcester Center Galleria, they cut us off. We don't want any more roadblocks. We want to be an open community. Besides from the traffic patterns and the safety issues, it's a psychological issue also, and it's very important to the community, not only to our area, but the Shrewsbury Street area, which is encompassed as many residences, and these are the people who have to live with what we do here after all is said and done. We welcome you. We welcome your expansion plans, but we'd like to have some say, and we'd like to see it at the table with you, and we look forward to it. And thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Lenny, thank you. And of course, thank you for your service to the city on the Zoning Board of Appeals, and especially as chairperson. We appreciate the time you spent. Yes, sir.
My name is Ray Moretti. I live in 451 Lake Ave. I'm a taxpayer of the city of Worcester. I don't get the idea of this Putnam Lane, why you want to do something with that bridge. I get the impression there'll be more traffic going east and west if that's the case. Could you explain the reason for fixing up the Putnam Lane Bridge?
Well, briefly, could you just explain what the current proposal is and why you need to close Putnam Lane because of the new what do you call it, the spur and the, what do they call those, the elevator? Right.
Yeah, the proposal to close Putnam Lane is necessary because we need the additional capacity to handle the traffic that's coming into this terminal. We need that additional capacity to accommodate the additional commuter trains that will be on this line when we do hand over ownership to the Commonwealth. If we don't build the additional capacity that we need, the terminal doesn't work, and I think there's a possibility that it could affect commuter service. So having that yard lead over on the east end, and the Putnam Street closure is also necessary to accommodate the cranes that are a part of this operation. The width of those cranes and the width of the current bridge do not work right now. So that's how we arrived at the decision that, to close Putnam Lane.
See, my thought was that it was going to affect, that it was going to be more traffic coming from the east. That was why you were going to have something done with that bridge. It isn't just for the traffic, for the train service. For CSX, I think it's for you mainly. And my concern is because with the traffic increase, if there is traffic increase from CSX, like I live on 451 Lake Ave, there's a grade. The grade is coming from the east going up into Worcester. And it affects the sound we're receiving living on Lake Ave. And that's why I'm concerned. I'm looking for sound barriers to...
You'll have less CSX trains?
Well, that's what I'm concerned about. I don't think there will be.
You're going to have a lot more commuter trains.
Well, we'll still be...
So you have 40 more trips a day for commuter trains? We count them back and forth when you say 20, or is it just 20? 20 more, is that 40 trips? Okay, so you get 40 more trips a day for commuter rail. CSX will be less. We're not sure how much less. They're going to give us a report on that.
There'll be less trains going
by
east.
Chairman's orders.
Well, there'll still be an increase of this sound that we're receiving.
Well, yeah, especially with the commuter trains.
Because we live opposite a building, a great big metal building.
Saks.
I don't know. That's correct. And that greatly affects us. Thank you.
That's a nightmare, that place.
Good evening. Frank Bisha, 42 Orton Street, Worcester. I've been a lifelong resident in this city. I remember when I paid a nickel to go to the theater on Front Street. When Worcester was Worcester then, and then when Worcester wasn't Worcester, now that Worcester's coming back to be Worcester, I think this project's a great idea. I think it's going to trigger a lot of other economic development in the future when it happens. But I just like to caution the council and the administration to remember that the residents, as we go along with this project, I think Council Clancy's idea of having a right turn coming out of onto Grafton Street is a great idea. We have 3-4 schools up there on Grafton Street with a lot of population there that these trucks would be going through. We have several churches, funeral homes there that would be absorbing a lot of that traffic. And then Putnam Lane, to close that street, Council Palmieri has worked hard with the rest of this council for years to build that gateway into Worcester on Shrewsbury Street. And I think by closing that would cut a lot of traffic going through that area, hurt the businesses, and have an impact. I think it's necessary that that bridge or that Putnam Lane stays open. And from what I'm understanding from the comments to the last gentleman, that's necessary for you to do this project, is to close that. I think it would be a great idea if CSX built it a little bit larger, improve that area to accommodate itself, rather than closing Putnam Lane and cutting off a section of the city, again, blocking us further from development in the communities. Like I said, I all for this project. I believe that it's going to trigger so much more economic development in the city, which we need so badly, and this council has worked so hard for. But I just caution them to make sure every T is crossed and every I is dotted so that a large corporation, the CSX, does not come into a community like Worcester and take advantage of certain areas. We can't allow that to happen. We need the economic growth, and we need your help for that. But we also have a community to worry about, too, and to get us back to where we need to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Is there anybody else who would like to address us at this time? We're going to have another hearing. Yes. Anybody else who wishes to speak at this time, would you come to the rail? Anybody else who intends, so I see 1, 2, 3. Is there anyone else? Okay, these will be our last 3 speakers for the evening. Go ahead.
My name is Janice Sherman, and I live in Worcester. I do not live in this community, so I hope my words don't offend anyone who does live in the community. But I see this rail yard as a possibility of some very interesting design going on, and I know that it's an industrial site, it's a utilitarian site, but it's also very close to a neighborhood, and so I would like to see the possibility of CSX working with the neighborhood and the city on the actual design of the buildings and the fences as well, and that the fence, the way I see it as someone who does not live in the neighborhood, is that permeability into the CSX site just visually might prevent the feeling that the neighborhood's being blocked off entirely, might actually improve security, and I can see some opportunities for the retaining ponds and the landscape to really add to the community, so not to have those areas blocked off. And finally, the possibility of weaving the CSX site with landscaping and everything across Grafton Street, and maybe sort of landscaping around the backside of the train station as well, so that there's sort of a continuity of the design intent all along that street. So I see that there's some opportunities here for some good design, and I'd hate to see that lost just because of the industrial nature of the project. Those are my comments.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. I want to commend you. I think this has been a really substantive and thorough review of the project. My name is John Germagorio. I'm I represent the Canal District Business Association. I forward you our letter and our comments beforehand. I'm also Vice President of the Canal District Alliance. And I think a lot of the discussions by especially Councilor Palmieri echoes what we're concerned with, and that's how the project fits in the Canal District. We've been long advocates for the increase of commuter rail in the Union Station. We welcome that activity. I think will stimulate a lot of economic development behind Union Station. And we're looking how this project can help connect the Canal District to the other neighborhoods. The city, as we all know, has invested $39 million in Union Station and $25 in a parking garage, and $7.5 million is going to go into new streets in the next few months, and all the money that was spent on Washington Square. And the one piece of the problem there is the bridges. The bridges are in a deplorable condition. They're horrible. We hope that part of this project that CSX takes the initiative to make improvements to those bridges. One idea we had was to perhaps, I have some pictures you can pass around and look at. Yeah, if you want, unless you want to keep it. Yeah. As you might recall, a couple of months ago, the city embarked on an extensive plan to install artwork inside some of these bridges, and this might be an opportune time to do some of that at this point. We'd also like the city to consider extending the Canal District streetscape design plan up Franklin and up Grafton Street, since those we understand that those areas are going to be done. And then our general concern is that the properties be well-maintained from now and into the future. It's pretty much an eyesore. It's a well-worn-out site. But we acknowledge the railroad's been there for since 1835. It's a growing concern. It's going to bring a lot of jobs to Worcester. We think that's great. It's going to bring a lot of positive economic development. And thank you very much.
Thank you. And we have one final.
Warren Jeffrey. I don't live here in town. And boy, Barbara knows me, and I'm a pain in the ass.
Could we have name?
Warren Jeffrey. You might have missed it. UPS has been using Grafton Street for many, many years. You're not going to increase too much of the traffic. The problem is you got a lot of people that are using cars today that have to go in and out. Now, Shaw's, they can have it. That always floods by 4 feet, just like Entomode down at the end of Hammond Street. That's the reason why they discontinued and pulled out 3 years ago. Same thing over there across from Compton Park. Now they want to come back in. Fine. I don't care. Putnam Lane, that tunnel that goes from Shrewsbury Street down by Coca-Cola plant, by the old Christie Thompson gas company and everything else, fine. They can add a cement brick and extend that out and reinforce it. I know why they want to put it in there. Fine, let them have it. But they need to put up some barricades like on 128 in residential areas or around 495, which will deaden the sound and help out also in the landscape behind it. I'm not trying to be detrimental to the freight system, but I've been trying to get commuter rail service put back into the state for a long time. And you need double rails, and you need triple rails, all right? And from certain points, you're going to need to have the switch yard and that. But here's the other problem you guys didn't think of, all right? If you take out Foley's old trucking terminal, the rest of Warren's storage, and Complay at M&M terminal, now you've got a direct access down to Green Street. Green Street leads right to 146 extension. Back and forth traffic all day long. You're not going to hurt anybody. All right? That still leaves the other avenues open for Shrewsbury, coming off of the old Millbury exit, and everything else. All right? And that also alleviates most of the traffic trying to get back up to 190 to go north. Oh, but I'm dumb. And this is what I'm saying. You didn't really think it out. All right? Now, what's going to happen in 2012 when CCX is all done? Oh, where are you going to put the butt liners, the cabooses, and the other stuff that I know you guys weren't involved with it, but Susan Dukakis and Dukakis back in 2008 said, we'll give you the stuff. All right? Now, the other problem is most of the workers that are going to be working there are going to have Homeland Security license, CIA background checks, and FBI background checks. Oh, sorry. I'm not stupid. All right?
Okay.
And I've said...
Thank you, Warren. All right. As we close tonight, I just have one more comment. We wouldn't be sitting at this table here tonight talking about the potential expansion of commuter rail into the city of Worcester if Tim Murray wasn't sitting in the corner office at the State House and had the support of Governor Patrick in moving heaven and earth, also known as CSX in federal law, and the MBTA, who is heaven and earth in state law, to get to this point where, we can actually have a discussion about expansion of commuter rail in the city and see a reality to it. So we all collectively want to recognize the work of Lieutenant Governor Tim Murray and the Patrick administration for doing what many consider the impossible, which is being able to expand commuter rail into the city of Worcester. So we'd like to tip our hat. We know he works very hard, but he was in overdrive on this item. So our hats are off to Tim. And we want to make sure we thank him and recognize all of his effort in this endeavor. And with that, we will adjourn. And we'll have, well, we asked for a lot of reports. David has all the reports. Oh, sure. Sure, Councilor Howell.
And that was, what are the impacts expected with the double stack? Those double stacks going to be going through the city. There was already one question about that. I think you said they were going to unload at Worcester, but there'll still be some double stack containers coming into Worcester. And what tracks will those be coming under? What's the line? What's the route that those double stacks will be on in Worcester?
They'll be on the tracks in the terminal, in the working
Down
tracks.
Southbridge, the tracks in District 4 that you're familiar with?
Correct.
They'll be coming down
That's
there?
correct.
So will there be any neighborhood impacts with the double stack? That's the question. I don't know that you can answer that, but,
So do we want to report on that?
yeah, I want some consideration on that.
Okay. Did you get that, David? Thank you. All right.
Just a follow-up question.
Chairman Petty?
Regarding, people come and ask about the maintenance property, how many employees. You're going to run 3 shifts out of there. How many per shift are going to be driving into that property?
Approximately 15.
So you have 15 cars coming in and out of there. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. I think that's one of the
Shift.
questions. Per shift?
Per shift.
Yeah, okay. So it won't be 30 at a time, it'll be 15 at a time. Okay. I just want to thank you for coming out, and people should realize that they could have bought the properties without telling anybody. Nobody would have known. And they didn't do that. At least they're trying to be straight up to the neighborhood, present their plan, CSX, and Department of Transportation. It's all in front of us, and now it's just need to try to address your concerns, make sure they're addressed, so we all can agree as a community going forward on this project. Thank you.
Thank you. One second. Thank you, Chairperson Petty. Councilor Toomey, and then another question from Councilor Palmieri.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, thank you to everybody here. Also, our citizens that participated in this hearing today. If it's not for you coming here, we don't hear everything all the time, so it's important for your participation. And also, in conversation previously, we've talked about this being a green project. And could you please elaborate on a little bit more on the trains? I know we talked about the equipment for moving the containers off, but could you talk about how much quieter the train engines will be? Right, hybrids.
Mr. O'Connell?
Sure. We think the operation is going to be quieter because we are replacing the rail with welded rail, not the jointed rail that's out there today. So we think that that will add a benefit. The ties will also add benefit, and we think that will also help with the noise mitigation. The locomotives, they are diesel. We did partner with the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, and we submitted an application for DERA funding, which is the Diesel Emission Reduction Act, for a genset locomotive here in Worcester. So we're eagerly awaiting results of that application.
Well, that's great. The other thing that we did talk about in the meeting, and I think it's important for our community where Worcester is a green community, to talk about other initiatives that you might be undertaking to utilize perhaps solar, any type of wind power, those types of things, to have a further discussion on that perhaps at our next meeting for any plans that you may utilize. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Toomey. And did you want to a report from CSX on the green technology? Okay. Mr. Rushford, did you? Great, thank you. Councilor Palmieri.
I think just one other question to Mr. Tesla. We've heard more tonight about CSX and what their plans are. Though I know many of us agree that the cooperation of having the 20 trains come in on or approximately 2012. How will that work? Are we assured that we're going to have 20 additional trains by 2012, or is this issue going to be 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17? What assurances do we have that, you know, I don't want to deflect all of my interest towards Maurice O'Connell. I want to deflect some of it to you, which is why many of us are here, knowing and understanding the impact that commuter rail is going to have for, you know, our city, our state, the region. It wasn't clear to me that that this was going to almost happen simultaneously. And are you preparing to make certain that we're going to see commuter rail and we're going to see 40 to 45 trains moving alongside of CSX? What assurances do we have?
Okay, Mr. Tesla.
Thank you.
You've had it easy tonight.
Thanks for the question. The steps we need to take in order to make the additional trains is we are in the process of procuring additional locomotives and the bi-level coaches. So we have the additional fleet to do that service. So that's a critical piece of this. And as you are familiar with, South Station is a choke point during the rush hours. So that presents some challenges with additional track capacity further down. This deal creates the space and the capacity to add those trains. We are working simultaneously with those other steps to make sure that we can add these immediately.
So we need not worry about the connection that South Station needs to have their land transfer a mile down the road where the Defense Department owns 25 acres of land, and see that transaction take place, and that the post office at South Station and all those other entities that are there have to be out of there in order for us to have the additional 20 trains. Is that correct?
I think that South Station presents the largest challenges in the rush hour.
Right.
Because it's already constrained in that time period.
Right.
I think in the middle of the day, where I know there's an interest in adding throughout the day trains here, and any schedule that we would add, we'll look to obviously add beyond just the rush hour throughout the day. So there is space in other parts of the day. The rush hour is constrained now.
That's a good question.
You want to report?
Well, not only do I want to report, I want to ask one other a follow-up question.
Sure.
So when we're saying an additional 20 trains, that doesn't necessarily mean, or does it, that we're going to see trains every hour on the hour to Worcester?
I don't know yet. We haven't gone through and laid out the service plan.
That would be something that...
So the schedule's not set yet?
Right.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Because we could have trains from 9 o'clock till 2 in the morning every hour on the hour, and we'll probably have 4 people. But for our community to see it grow and to see more people come in to buy homes and condos and open businesses, we need to see, and we need to be assured that as we're making an agreement with CSX, that the agreement with commuter rail is going to absolutely impact this city, this community, and this state. So that, to me, is an absolute critical question that we need to have answered, and that we need to know more about how the commuter rail is coming, because we can always have more trains at times when it's not in our interest, and it will be, and it needs to be in our interest. So thank you.
Okay, and we'll get that information. We'll ask the city manager to get that information to the best of his knowledge, to get that for us. One more a homework item before we leave. We have 3 zoning map amendments requested. Number 1 is that 15 and 17 Putnam Lane be rezoned from residential limited to manufacturing general. Number 2, that adjacent land next to Atlantis Street be rezoned from residential limited to manufacturing general. And number 3, another area of Atlantis Street located near Atlantis Street and Plantation Street be rezoned from residential limited to business general. To go from residential limited, or RL7, I don't know why they just put that, and business general, BG3, to MG2, and those are 3 petitions that have come to us, but they need to go to the planning board, and then they come back to the city council for a hearing and review. So we'll start that process and send those 3 items to the planning board, obviously through the council. All those in favor? Opposed? So voted. And before I bang the gavel, I do have to note that in my 23 years of government, I have never seen Commissioner Robert Moylan attend a public meeting where he hasn't spoken. So we have a first. With that, motion to adjourn.